The Black Myth Wukong just received a massive update, and it's honestly not what most of you expected. This game has already sold millions of copies worldwide and generated hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Not only that, it's widely considered one of the best semi-souls, like action RPGs ever made. The combat is tight, the boss fights are insane, the visuals are next level, and the storytelling rooted in Chinese mythology gives it a completely unique identity in the gaming world. But here's the crazy part, the journey of Black Myth Wukong is far from over, because now we're hearing about a brand new title in the Black Myth universe, Black Myth Zhong Kui. And on top of that, we also have new information about potential DLC for Wukong and even a possible Nintendo Switch 2 release. So let's break everything down. First, let's talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 situation. Ahead of the February 5 Nintendo Direct Partner Showcase, a reliable insider known as Nate the Hate claimed on his podcast that Black Myth Wukong is expected to arrive on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, that he couldn't confirm whether the game would actually be shown during the Direct, but he sounded very confident that it's coming to Nintendo's next generation console. And if this is true, this is a huge win for Switch players. Let's be honest, Black Myth Wukong is not a small indie game. This is a graphically intense, high-performance action RPG built on Unreal Engine 5. The lighting, particle effects, large-scale boss fights, and detailed environments are extremely demanding. So if it's really coming to Switch 2, that tells us something very important. The Switch 2 must be significantly more powerful than the original Switch, because there's no way this game could run properly without serious hardware improvements. Optimization alone would take a lot of time, especially for a game with this level of graphical fidelity. So if the port is real, Game Science has likely been working on it quietly for a while. And honestly, if Nintendo pulls this off, it could be one of the biggest third-party wins for their new console. Now let's move on to the more interesting part, the DLC and the future of the Black Myth universe. There have been rumors and reports that Game Science originally planned to create DLC for Black Myth Wukong. That makes sense. The game is successful, fans want more content, and the world of Chinese mythology is massive. There are so many stories and legendary figures that could expand the universe. One of those figures is Zhong Kui. For those who don't know, Zhong Kui is a legendary figure in Chinese folklore. He is known as the King of Ghosts, a powerful demon hunter who rules between heaven and earth. His story is darker and more supernatural compared to the Journey to the West themes in Wukong. Originally, the idea may have been to introduce Zhong Kui as part of a Wukong DLC expansion. But according to reports, Game Science director Feng Ji realized something important. The story and scale of Zhong Kui were simply too big for just DLC. Instead of limiting it to an expansion, they decided, why not turn this into a full standalone game? And that's how Black Myth Zhong Kui was born. Now think about that for a second. Instead of just adding a small expansion pack, they're potentially building an entire new title in the same universe. That's a massive move. It shows confidence, it shows ambition, and most importantly, it shows that Game Science is thinking long-term. They're not just making one-hit game, they're building a franchise, and that's exciting. But here's another interesting detail. Feng Ji also suggested that Wukong itself may not be finished. Just because Zhong Kui could become its own game doesn't mean Wukong won't receive additional DLC in the future. There's still so much mythology left unexplored. Chinese folklore is incredibly rich. We could see entirely new expansions featuring different legendary characters, new regions, new bosses, and even new gameplay mechanics. Imagine new transformations, new mythical weapons, new demon kings, maybe even alternate story paths. The possibilities are insane, and considering how well Wukong performed commercially and critically, it would honestly be surprising if Game Science didn't continue expanding it in some form. Black Myth Wukong has been a massive success. A Nintendo Switch 2 version is rumored and could be announced soon. DLC was planned, but one idea evolved into a full standalone title. Black Myth Zhong Kui may become the next major entry in the series, and Wukong itself may still receive additional expansions in the future. The Black Myth universe is growing, and honestly, this is one of the most exciting new franchises in modern gaming right now. Now I want to know what you think. Are you excited about Black Myth Zhong Kui? Would you prefer a big Wukong DLC instead? And do you think the Switch 2 can actually handle this game properly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more gaming news, updates, and deep dives like this, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.